They took both of my daughters.
19-year-old Deja wanted to be a nurse. That's why she was in college. Her sister, 20-year-old Abney, was her best friend. The two died together in Deja's dorm room Monday afternoon. Abney's 2-year-old son, Alan, was shot in the leg. He survived. The family wanted us to show video of baby Alan so people could see just how cruel the person who did this really is.
I think it was like a coward move. I mean, if somebody would do something like that, you know what I'm saying? My daughters were fun, uplifting, had plenty of friends, nice folks, you know what I'm saying? They took both of my daughters.
Abney did not attend the college. She drove her sister back to school after a big family get-together over the weekend. She and baby Alan were only going to spend one night there.
Because they were just up here. My son had a birthday party, and they were all up here and went back, and this right here happened.
University Police Department is again.
Police did release a 911 call that was made by a student at the college saying there was a bullet hole in her dorm room.
And there's a hole through my wall, and on the other side directly across is a nick in my calendar. So it looks like something was shot through the wall and hit my calendar.
Police arrested Abney's ex-boyfriend, 21-year-old Jacques Deshawn Smith, and he's been charged with capital murder. The girl's family says there had been relationship issues, but for now, they want the focus to be on these two beautiful sisters who were full of life and love.
It was just my little booze. My booze.
In Garland, I'm Rebecca Lopez.
The sisters killed this week on a Texas college campus. Their families and victims' advocates believe that these murders would never have happened if the man accused of killing them had stayed locked up in jail in Dallas. That's where Andrea Lucia is tonight looking into this for us. Andrea?
Yeah, the suspect, Jackie Smith, was already on probation last week when Garland police say he violently attacked his girlfriend who was trying to break things off with him. Now, that arrest could have led to his probation being revoked. Instead, he was able to walk out of jail again with the list of conditions police say he once again ignored. A week before her murder, Abney Matz told Garland police Jackie Smith held a knife over her and warned, "I'll kill you." 2 days later, he walked out of the Dallas County Jail with an emergency protective order and bond conditions barring him from contacting his victim or her family and from possessing a gun. At the end of the day, it is just a piece of paper, so, if he's going to do
no shit.
what he's going to do, a piece of paper is not going to stop him from doing that. A spokesperson for the Genesis Women's Shelter says protective orders alone may not keep a victim safe, but they do create a record of the violence. The judges see a protective order and understand that this situation could potentially be more deadly or more dangerous. Texas A&M University Commerce hasn't revealed when or how Smith accessed Abney's sister's dorm, where a key card is needed to enter. The university today...
They let him in!
Front desk
Come on, man. Y'all, stop.
And 8 a.m. It
Stop.
to change that and to increase how often access
Them hoes let him in.
to make sure they're working. The murders of both sisters, victims advocates say, is a reminder domestic violence can touch us all. It's not a private issue.
It's a reminder that these females love violent thugs. That's why they let him into the fucking apartment after he held the knife to the throat of his girlfriend a week earlier.
Probation violation was able to be processed. Genesis Women's Shelter told us that because this is the most dangerous time for an abuse victim when they are trying to leave their partner, some choose not to get.
She wasn't trying to lead this dude. Y'all stop, please stop. Oh my God.
The president of the Dallas Police Association is speaking out, saying that the shooting deaths of two sisters at Texas A&M Commerce could have been prevented. Aaron Jones, live for us in Dallas County at the jail to tell us why. Aaron?
DPA President Mike Mata says last week Jackie Smith should have never walked out of this jail the way he did after he was arrested for assaulting his ex-girlfriend Abney Matz. He was given a $15,000 bond, and Mata says it should have been a lot higher than this given his violent criminal history, including 2 aggravated robbery charges that were later pled down to theft and charges for aggravated robbery evading arrest. Smith was on probation at the time of his arrest last week. An arrest warrant was being worked up for violating it, but before it was issued, he bonded out of jail.
You cannot tell me that there's any justification for a guy that has committed 4 prior violent felonies to be given a $1,500 cash bond release. And this guy got out before that warrant could be activated. When we see something that's broke, the Dallas County justice system has a duty to fix it.
You cannot fix Blackistan, dummy.
Smith is in the Hunt County Jail on $2 million bond. This is
Only the people who created Blackistan can fix Blackistan, my friend.
Out of Denton. Reporting live in Dallas, Aaron Jones, CBS 11 News.
Tales from the Crypt is becoming more like Tales from the Script. What's going on, guys? So I present before you another case from the halls of Blackistan, or as I'm calling it, Hellistan. Now, the only reason why I made this video was because of, the, I guess you could say, the brutal irony of 2 young thoughtbots being shot and killed that were related in the same dorm room by one of their estranged boyfriends. Usually, when these chicks meet their demise, they're either by themselves, or if they are killed with another person, it's another dude that they're messing around with, or some female friend. But these were sisters, a year apart, Deja Matz and Abney, spelled Abbeney, Matz, age 20. Deja Matz was 19, if I haven't mentioned that. And as you saw in the news reports, they were both shot and killed in a domestic dispute that escalated in one of their dorm rooms. The younger sister, Deja Matz, in her dorm room, she was shot and killed along with her elder sister, 20-year-old Abney Matz. And Abney Matz's 2-year-old or 3-year-old, whatever, son was wounded in the leg. And this happened back on February 1st. Turns out the savage who shot them also murdered a black male, Stephen Daniels, at a New Year's party in another part of Texas near here, New Year's Eve 2019. And what really got me started on this was when I saw the Dallas County Sheriff, or whatever the fuck, him doing the same thing that female did in the last story that I told you guys about with what's her name, Destiny Harris, out in Baltimore. He blamed, and this, keep in mind, this was a Hispanic or a white Hispanic sheriff. He blamed the system, as in the justice system, for letting this moron, what's his name, Jaquez Smith, out of jail early, even though he had multiple violent felonies, including a order of protection for holding a knife to his thought he would a body type girlfriend whom he later killed. That was one of the things that set me off. The other thing that set me off was when they kept pretending like they don't know how this Negro gained access into that apartment. Okay? They're pretending like they don't know this. For one thing, upon doing some very short-ended research, comes to find out, because when I originally heard this story, I thought both girls were just dorm mates. As a matter of fact, the first news stories gave misinformation that the sisters, they both were, going to Texas A&M, and they were dorm mates. Well, no, it actually turns out that Deja Matz was the only sister that was attending Texas A&M. The other sister was visiting her sisters, which is something that she did frequently. Okay? I guess just for the college experience. Because who wants to be around their younger sibling that much? And, they're talking about, the doors were security locked. You need an ID to go in. For one thing, I know from being in, living in a college town myself, that most of the time, if you stand in a lobby of any of these college buildings, you can just wait on a student to come through the door and grab the door before it closes and go in. That's for one thing. For two things, we know, okay? You saw the white liberal woman up there talking about, order of protection is just a piece of paper. It can't keep the man back. This painting of black men as, violent, uncontrollable animals. I'm going to take time out in this video to put a stop to that by bringing up the fact that the reason why, and he was a violent thug. I mean, he killed a black male on New Year's Eve in his own fucking apartment, in the victim's own fucking apartment, right? Of course, we didn't hear about that, but we heard when he killed two young thots, okay? Now, the reason why he was able to gain access to Deja's dorm at Texas A&M was because Deja invited her sister in, and I guarantee you, just like I've been right in almost every case, I can almost guarantee you, Mr. Jaquez Smith, who had just held a knife to the throat of Ebony, and one thing, I don't put a lot of stock in these females, but one thing I got to give Ebony or her mother, as we know, we saw the two we saw the two dudes, one of them claiming to be the father of these two girls, but we know what type of dudes those are just from the interview. I'm gonna leave that alone. But, I'm assuming that the mother probably named these two girls. One was the typical, kind of ratchet name, Deja, and then the other one, Ebony. It's unusual to me to hear a black female with, that variation of Abby. So I'll give her that credit. At least the girl that was dating this savage didn't have a traditional ratchet name. But the reason why this dude was able to gain access to this dorm is because Deja let her sister into the dorm without an ID, probably texted her and told her that she was coming over, or she was living there illegally, as in against the policy of the university with Deja, which is more likely the case, probably, just bunking up with her sister. And this Negro was probably illegally living there with both of these females, including his girlfriend, okay? When she opened the door, Ebony and this dude walked in, okay? And the argument probably began later on, okay? The one thing that we know about these females is they don't stop fucking with these dudes, okay? These violent dudes that threaten them, that beat them up. I know from just my last ex, which literally will be my last ex. She told me that she dealt with a guy off and on for 8 years that knocked her eye out of his socket with a sucker punch, cheated on her at least twice, and busted out the windows in her mama's house. But she was off and on dating this guy for 8 years. She even admitted to cheating on him once. Okay? These females will not walk away from these violent guys, even after these violent guys put hands on them or threaten them, because they love thugs. Because thugs come with cons, yeah, but they also come with pros. Y'all may recall I did a video a couple of years ago where it was a story about a young lady, I believe, in Cleveland. Granted, she was a ratchet thought too. But she saw a little baby girl in the middle of the street while her and her family were, at some type of family gathering. And her and some of the relatives, they just randomly saw this little ass girl wandering in the middle of the street where cars drive. She goes out into the street to get the child out of the street. And this thug thought, or what Tommy calls a BT 1000, she comes storming out of the house. Now granted, this female didn't care that her baby was wandering in the middle of the street. But when she saw another female putting hands on her baby to get it out of the street, then she comes storming out of the house, all of a sudden like Mother Bear, ready to fight. Because she sees another female doing what she should have been doing, which is keeping an eye on her child. Then a verbal confrontation quickly turns into a physical confrontation. And this thug thought that got mad because another female is trying to keep her baby daughter from becoming roadkill, she gets on the cell phone and calls some savage Negro that she's dating or more than likely fucking. Within a couple of minutes, as this altercation and yelling match or pushing and shoving match is going on between her and this other female that was simply trying to help the kid from not to prevent the kid from being dead, all of a sudden, this guy shows up. He jumps out of a car and without question, according to witnesses, runs over to the girl that was trying to get the kid out of the street, just on the orders of this other thug thought that was the mother of this child in the middle of the street. He pulls a knife and starts stabbing the girl that was trying to be the Good Samaritan. Kills her. Didn't ask no questions, didn't say nothing. On orders. My point is, these black females, they love these types. We know they love two types of dudes. They love white boys or any type of dude that is not black, because they think that dating and fucking these type of dudes is a come up for them. And they love these guys, these thugs, the only type of black guys that they fuck with when they're this age and when they're, weave or in makeup or not, they're somewhat attractive. They like these type of dudes because it's, as what my dad once described, it's like having a pit bull on a leash. It's not really for protection, because these females, they have no, they really, you see the amount of them that get shot and killed, even by other black females. They really they really don't care about being protected like Paris Milan would like you to believe. They think that having these type of dudes on a leash, figuratively speaking, is a certain level of power that they have over other people, equivalent to having a gun or a knife. I'm sure there's been plenty of times, because you got to ask yourself, first of all, if they didn't want this dude around, if Deja and Abney didn't want this guy around, all they would have to do simply is contact campus security and campus police, which every college, every university has, okay? And simply say, we have a stalker, we have a prowler. Could you send have police patrol this area, tell this guy he's no longer welcome on Texas A&M property or in our dorm, he's just no longer welcome. I'm not supposed to be here with my sister either, but this guy's stalking and harassing me. Okay, you know they would keep that dude off of the premises. All they would have to do is lock the door, and if the guy couldn't even get in the building unless these sisters let him in the building, unless they're saying that he stole their ID card. Unlikely, because Negroes like this, often don't have that much intelligence. Okay? They don't have enough intelligence to pour pee out of a boot with the instruction written under the heel, because of the type of people that they were raised by, but that's a subject for another video. Okay? I suspect, without knowing for sure, I suspect that Deja was the girl that was going to Texas A&M University. She had her sister on the sneak tip, probably living in there with her boyfriend. Okay, and it was probably some type of agreement where she would. I don't know how that works, but I think because when I went to university, I lived off campus the whole time. So I'm suspecting maybe it was some type of agreement where they would help pay tuition rent or whatever they call it, or there was some type of setup. It may have even been some type of setup where they were sharing dick. I don't know, but people do weird things. Okay, but this guy, she was not trying to get rid of this guy. When black females get mad, yes, they will call the police, as Ebony did. Yes, they will get restraining orders, as Ebony did. Okay, but we've also seen these females fight to the death, just like these dudes fight to the death over them. They fight to the death over these type of black males. Okay, it just as likely could have been Ebony out there killing some other thought, or getting killed by some other thought over this Negro. We literally just saw this in Washington, D.C. with that black girl that jumped that other girl when she saw her with her ex-boyfriend and baby daddy. No questions asked. Just pull up, at a gas station, jump out and start fighting a motherfucker. No questions asked. Didn't do anything to you. Just cause he with the dick that I was with last week. Okay? This female, and we've seen this story time after time after time after time. Okay? She was still, at the very least, fucking this guy. Okay? She was still with this guy. Okay? Remember, arguing, confrontations, death threats, fights, that's normal, that's standard operating procedure where these type of people come from. It don't matter whether you're talking about Houston, Texas. I remember a couple of years ago, no, it's been quite a few years. That was back in 2015, when I first really started doing videos. There was a case very similar to this, although the two girls weren't related. One of them, her name was Deonna McDonald. It was her and another young lady that came all the way down to Florida to attend Bethune-Cookman University, and they were from Detroit, Michigan. And they were sharing it. They were like friends in high school, and so they decided to be roommates or housemates at Bethune-Cookman. They were living on an off-campus apartment, but the older girl, I think her name was Tanisha or something like that, she had her boyfriend, or her thug dick, living in the off-campus apartment with them. And then this other dude was in some type of relationship with Deonna. This thug, they got into an argument with him. Tanisha breaks up with the guy, tries to kick him out. He gets mad, goes to the trunk of his car, returns, kills her and what's her name, Deonna McDonald, and critically wounds the other guy that was with Deonna. And that was a similar case to what happened here in Texas. Now, the other thing I was going to say was, they were talking about how this little boy, I mean, you got to ask yourself, this girl Deja, and see, this is why I always laugh at, this mythology that black females bring up about being the most educated women in America. Because if you're so educated, okay, you're going to Texas A&M for, for the academics, to better yourself, to try and, get good grades and graduate with a degree so you can go out into the world and get a decent paying job, right? That's why most young people go to school, or so it would seem. Yet you have your older sister, and I know, because I know Negroes, okay? I know she wasn't just visiting. I started to say that, but no, I take that back. She had her sister living up in there with her illegitimate child that was also wounded in the shooting. And they said the guy, he intentionally shot the child. I don't think so. Because some white girl, remember at the beginning of the video, they played a 911 call of what sounded like a white student, female student, that called and said she came back home and found bullet holes through the wall in her apartment. And thank goodness she wasn't there. Okay. And that's how police found, one thing led to another, and they found the bodies of these two sisters. Okay. This Deja girl, the younger of the sisters, she's supposed to be part of, the most educated group in America. They getting their degrees, they leaving black men behind. They're what do they call it? They're divesting from Blackistan. They're stepping out. They're exploring their options. Yet she has her eldest sister, who isn't even a student at Texas A&M University, living in her dorm. It's one thing now if you want to do that shit and you're at an off-campus apartment like the other two girls that got killed in 2015 at Bethune-Cookman in a similar case, okay? But you're in a dormitory, okay, where only you are registered to live in that dormitory. Yet you have your sister, who is not a student here, living there illegally with her illegitimate child and the boyfriend. That's the only way I can think logically. The odds, listen, okay? If these two had been fighting and this much violence had been going on for this long, what are the odds that this girl just called up her sister one day and said, hey, I want to, come visit you. Haven't seen you in a long time since you've been in college. I just want to come see my baby sister. And she just comes over, and this guy, he stalks her to the dorm, and he bypasses the security, picks the lock, comes in there and guns them all down. No, he was invited. Okay. He was invited because he was there living illegally with the girl that he was in some type of situationship with, and her illegitimate child that doesn't even appear to be his. Because they said he shot her child. They didn't say he shot their child. Meaning that probably wasn't his child. That was her child from another dude that she had been with previously. Okay? Yet these people are supposed to be the most educated in America. Yet they mess with these type of dudes going well, through their 20s. And then by the time they get to their 30s, they realize that, oh, Tyrone or Jaquez or DeQuarion, they messed up my life. I'm full of all these babies and full of all this hell. Now, I see that, messing with these guys wasn't a come up. Now all of a sudden, dealing with the dope boy and the thug boy, and having a pit bull on a leash, that's not a come up. That's a what do they call it? Black women's favorite phrase nowadays on the internet. That's dating down. So they wait 10 years, and 30 different thug dicks inside of them to realize, oh, this is dating down. Now I want to explore my options. As April Mason said after she got mad at black men. Now I want to explore my options. See, this is why I really can't take anybody in the black community seriously, including some people that, leave comments on my videos. Just the complete hypocrisy and contradiction and ignorance. Okay? The liberal media always tries to paint these people as a victim. When in a lot of cases, and I'm sure this is one of those cases, they are at the very least indirectly complicit in their own demise. At the very most, they were part of the conspiracy. They just didn't plan on catching the short end of the stick, so to speak. This is why I stopped a long time ago going on live streams, debating with other Negroes about the black situation and solutions, because I see quite clearly black people, and really just people in general, can't be taken seriously, because they go around and around and around in cycles doing the same stupid ass thing and expecting a different result. Okay, we here in, on the black side of things, we cannot begin to have a serious conversation about anything until we are serious about ourselves. Okay, we can talk all day long just in this particular type of situation about how, these violent thugs are, killing their girlfriends and women aren't protected, blah, blah, blah. But until we turn around and talk about the real issue, like who's raising these over emotional, over effeminized, demasculated, some people call it demasculated degenerates like Jacques Smith, and why these girls love these type of dudes and are attracted to these type of dudes so much, and why they choose to keep these type of dudes around even after they get violent. Okay, it's like that fucking movie Gone with the Wind. You're just blowing hot air. It's a waste of time. You do better. You would actually fare better in life just fucking going on a walk or a jog in a fucking park than discussing black issues, because it's pointless until black people get serious and look at what is really going on and stop flagging and trying to discredit those of us who know and acknowledge what is really going on. Shit like this and other stuff, related to other issues in the black community are going to keep happening. You can't paint somebody as a victim when they're either a perpetrator or a willing participant. Talk to you later, guys.